Hello and welcome to AFcast. I am your host Malcolm, and today I'll be talking about Operation Grimsky from Rainbow Six Siege. And first off, I want to apologize for not coming out with an episode last week. That previous week, I had been working along with and around saws cutting wood, and so I got a lot of sawdust in the back of my throat that was just building up over the week. So it was kind of hard to speak. I would choke or or cough or anything like that. So the episode was kind of weird, especially since it was a longer one. So now we're going to talk about Operation Grimsky in today's episode because it came out just this previous week, and I've had a chance to play the new operators and maps that have come out. First, we're going to talk about the news, though. So for games, we have for September 11th, we have NBA 2K19 coming for PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Switch. September 13th, we have Bastion coming for Switch, and also Wasteland 2 Director's Cut coming for Switch. For September 14th, we have Shadow of the Tomb Raider for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. And then we also have Lightfingers coming for Switch. September 21st, we have Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Torna the Golden Country DLC coming for Switch. And then on the 25th, we have Valkyria Chronicles 4 coming for PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Switch. Along with The Walking Dead, The Final Season Episode 2 coming for PS4, Xbox One, PC, or Switch. And then we have... on September 27th, we have Life is Strange 2 Episode 1 coming for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. And then we also have Towerfall coming for Switch on the 27th. That was all the games coming out this week. And then for Rainbow Six Siege, if you've never played the game, I would only recommend it to a certain gaming group. If you're a casual gamer, so you just play games like Fortnite or it's just essentially stuff like that, just stuff that you don't get super competitive in, and it doesn't have like invitationals or esports or anything like that. This is not a game for you. But if you do like heavy competition and very strategic, close quarters combat, and many different, like a steep learning curve, then this is the perfect game for you. Rainbow Six Siege, you essentially have a 5v5 on a random map for 3 different objectives, which is hostage, secure area, and bomb. And so for hostage, the objective is to either kill the enemy team or to get the hostage and get them outside into a secure location. Secure area is the same way, except for instead of a hostage, you have to quite literally secure a room or kill the other 5. And then for bomb, you can either kill the 5 or you can defuse. You can put a diffuser on the ground, which is given to one of your teammates, and defuse the bomb. Now, in bomb, it's slightly different because there are actually 2 objectives that you can put the diffuser in. So defense would have to defend against 2 of those objectives, and the bomb is also the one they have in esports. So if you're practicing, if you want to try to get into esports, bomb is the best way to go, along with ranked matches. And anyway, now to Operation Grimsky. If anybody remembers the map Favela that used to be in Rainbow Six Siege before they took it out, is now back in Operation Grimsky, along with a new Hereford base map, which is completely different than the previous one. It still has the same style for the interior, like how the rooms are set up. It has the same, kind of way it's put together. And then there's also some new recoil. Some operators have a higher difference of recoil than others, than how it previously was. It's mostly a slight difference, so you shouldn't have to worry too much about it. And then there's also 2 new operators as usual, Maverick and Clash. And for Maverick, he's an attack class, and he has 1 armor, 3 speed, and his primary weapons is an AR-15.50, which is a single shot AR that you can use, or you can use a fully automatic assault rifle called the M4. And then his secondary weapon is a 1911 TAC Ops pistol, which just acts as a normal pistol. And his gadgets are smoke grenades and claymore. And his special ability is a DIY blowtorch. Essentially, it can cut through anything, and it's when you actually start cutting, it's pretty small, but you can make the hole as big as you want. Though you do have a fuel supply, so you won't be able to make infinite amount of holes and walk spaces and stuff like that. His torch is mainly just to get peeks into objectives, and also into like different rooms and stuff. If there's somebody like camping in a corner, you can use a blowtorch to try to get an angle on them. It's not necessarily meant to create holes for you to walk through or prone through or crouch through, anything like that. But it does give you some really nice peeks if you know maps well enough. And then Clash is a defense operator and has 3 armor, 1 speed, so the opposite of Maverick. And her primary is a CCE shield. It's a full body shield. She is the first defense operator to actually have a shield. And her secondary weapons are a P10C pistol. Acts like a normal pistol. And then we have a SP SMG-9, which is a 2-burst SMG that you can use, and her gadgets are barbed wire and impact grenades. And yeah, as I said before, Clash is the first defender with a shield, which is fairly interesting, especially since they've had a lot of defense operators before her and have never given any of them a shield. But her shield doesn't just act as a normal shield. It can actually shoot bolts of lightning in like a circular pattern or a cylindric shape towards your enemy, and it slows them down and slightly damages them. So it's not meant to kill anyone, but it's definitely meant to do a little bit of hurt onto people and actually, like, I don't really know how to explain it. I really like the idea of Clash because it's like the first operator that's meant to actually run out of time instead of just killing the opposite team, or at least highly damaging the other team. It's actually meant for the enemy team to take longer to get to the objectives, so that way they have to rush you, and you can get them when they try to do that. So it seems like an interesting play from Ubisoft to do, especially since time hasn't really been their main concern when it comes to making operators. So I think it's cool that they're now taking an interest in that. And I'd like to see that for attack operators and also maybe even more defense operators. So yeah. And so you can use her, since it's a full body shield, it can basically act as a barricade. If somebody is busting through a barricade, you can try to hold that so that way they can't shoot in, and then you can have somebody try to get a peek around your shield if you can communicate well. I'd really recommend only playing Clash with a team and not actually just solo, because I feel like Clash, like I played Clash both with people and also solo. And solo, it's a lot more difficult because you don't know what the people behind you are doing if you're trying to protect the objective, or essentially just like how you should use her in the moment, because people can't communicate if people are coming from a certain way, so you can go block that. You kind of have to walk around and make more noise, which I don't really like doing that much. And also, it leaves a big gap in communication where you can't be you can't be there when something is happening. You have to actually like wait until somebody dies and know where they're coming from, and then go over there and try to hold them off. Clash is still the same as other shield operators, where you can melee it, and she flings the shield to the side, and then you can get a peek on her feet, and down her, or even kill her. But the reason why I'd only recommend it for playing a team as well is because, yeah, it has to do a lot with communication. And so if you're trying to act like you're a barricade, then you can try moving over slightly and telling your friend to get an angle on like the upper left of the barricade or bottom right of the barricade or something like that, telling them where people are, in order for them to actually get an angle or even to peek them outside. And so, yeah. So Clash is a lot more complicated, in my opinion, than she might first seem. But they are both very tactical, especially since you need to know the map very well for Maverick. And you can get some pretty nasty peaks in certain objectives. I would definitely recommend getting map knowledge, though, before you don't just buy the season pass and think you know what you're doing with Maverick, because it's a lot more complicated than that. I'd recommend having somebody else take them if they know the map better than you, or even trying to get people not to have Maverick, because I have had a Maverick screw me over a couple times with peek holes that they made in very dumb places, which have gotten me killed. And so, yeah. So like I said, I've been doing some gameplay, and I personally prefer the new Hereford base over the previous one. I like it a lot better. It looks a lot nicer. And yeah, it's essentially the same. It just looks like it's essentially the same map wise, but it looks different. The look of it is different. And so I do like the new look of it very much. And I will say that the new recoil is annoying, because if you get really good at Siege, then you can start like learning the recoil really well. You know exactly how to use it. So even though it's only a slight bit off for most people, it's still kind of like, what's going on here type of thing. So yeah. And then, yeah, Favela is still the same. They didn't make any changes to Favela. So that's nice. And I actually personally don't prefer Favela because it's too close quarters for me. And it's just, yeah, it's a very all over the place map too. It's very, I don't really know how to explain it. I just don't really like it that much. That's my personal preference. My friends personally like it a lot. So yeah. Anyway, I know this was a bit shorter than most of my episodes, though it is only a small update. Not much to talk about, but I am getting my hands on the new Spider-Man game coming for PS4 in the next couple of days, and we'll definitely be talking about that in the next podcast episode. So if you guys have been interested in listening about the gameplay, anything like that, I will be giving a review and seeing if you guys, so that way you guys can see if you guys want to get the game or not. And then at the same time next week, there's actually Shadow of the Tomb Raider coming out just 1 week exactly from Spider-Man. So that next week I'll also be doing Shadow of the Tomb Raider, hopefully, so you guys can listen and hear if you guys seem like you would want the game. So yeah, game on.